What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers really need help out on the perimeter, right? They need athleticism at the guard position, wing position, 3-and-D at both spots. Obviously, a backup center. I think that's easier than anything else, right? There's a plethora of centers on the market. Even like a Dejounte Sharp at like $5 million, I think is very easy and obtainable. But problem is just the market, right? Like a lot of these guys are overpaid, overpriced. Like Jeremy Grant. It's just like, is he worth the salary that he's making? Kyle Kuzma, how serious are the Wizards? And, supposedly his asking price dropped, but is Valanciunas and Kyle Kuzma, are they the answer? You look at, say, the Brooklyn Nets, right? Dorian Finney-Smith would make a ton of sense, but he's not like that premier guy, right? He's more of just like a slotted in role guy. Like if he's like your second wing, he's great, right? Or if you have like that guy that can be that third guy, like a Zach LaVine or a Brandon Ingram or something like that, right? Then he'd be beautifully slotted in that spot. Cam Johnson would probably be the best option and be ideal, but there's a lot of teams that want him. Supposedly the Thunder want him. And if the Thunder want anybody, that's it, into the conversation. They just have more assets, players, first round picks than anybody. They could literally overpay for Cam Johnson by like 5 first round picks more than everyone else and still have like 30 firsts to trade. Like their asset catalog is like insane. So I think Cam Johnson is very unlikely. Obviously, never say never. You never know. However, I think it's very unlikely. Now, leading into kind of like, okay, well then what's left? Got the Pelicans, right? And the Pelicans appear to want to have a fire sale. They're the worst team in basketball, right? A lot of that has just been decimated by injuries, and everyone's available in the market, right? I've talked heavily about Brandon Ingram, and I think that there's an argument to be made there to maybe go and look to acquire him. I understand he's injured right now. It's kind of like a bit of a dirty play. Lou Dort is just like out here like hurting everybody, hurt Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram, right? Like, I do think he'll be back. He's expected to be back like early January, right? Good thing about Brandon Ingram, I do kind of question the fit. I do have some concerns about that. If you want kind of more in-depth analysis, of my opinion, on Brandon Ingram and the Lakers, go check out some of the Brandon Ingram videos I did independently, because I do like the idea of Brandon Ingram. Do question the fit a little bit, but a guy slotted in at the 2, 3, 4, very versatile for you. And then Dejounte Murray. I've talked about Dejounte Murray. And kind of just racking my brain of like, should the Lakers just go all in and go get a Dejounte Murray and a Brandon Ingram? Should they just go get both? It'd be quite a bit of salary. You're talking, you'd have to send out essentially $67 million just to match salaries. And then you'd have to send out probably another $5 million to $6 million plus. So probably looking at like 72 million, somewhere like that, if you wanted to be able to fill out a roster also. But like, is that really that big of a deal? Like, especially if you're getting Dejounte Murray, athletic, versatile guard who can get you near triple-double on a nightly basis. Brandon Ingram, right? Versatile wing that can slot in 2, 3, or 4, like I mentioned, paired with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I mean, you could have Max Christie as your 2. Literally, you could go Dejounte Murray, Max Christie, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. You're insanely athletic, insanely versatile defensively, right? Like, I don't hate the idea. Obviously, shooting would be a bit of a concern, but the 2020 Laker team was like 26th in three-point percentage, right? So many people are like, we need to get back to that. Why? Because we hung our hat on the defensive side of things, right? Like, you were getting after it defensively, versatile, athleticism, right? Brandon Ingram can hit the 3, LeBron can hit the 3, AD can even hit the 3 a little bit, Dejounte Murray can hit the 3 a little bit. Obviously, none of them are like elite three-point shooters or anything like that. I think you'd be fine. Like, you'd be so versatile and dynamic that I think you'd be fine, right? Again, fit definitely is a question. Dejounte Murray, as much as I like Dejounte Murray, and I was huge on trying to get Dejounte Murray in last trade deadline, there are questions about the fit because he is best with the ball in his hands. He's not great off ball, as we saw with Atlanta. He did start to get better, and he has been better, but he's a guy that you want to let be the point guard, right? And you'd be kind of set up post LeBron era. right? Because after LeBron departs and leaves, you'd still have Dejounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, and LeBron and Anthony Davis, right? Also, in the offseason, Brandon Ingram, you can work out a new contract. If it doesn't work, you just let him walk, and you got flexibility, and you still have got Dejounte Murray, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And then even if it does work and you do want to keep Brandon Ingram and get him a new contract, LeBron James could take a vet minimum if he wanted to. I don't think he would do anything like that, but he was willing to take $20 million less to go get a Klay Thompson, a DeMar DeRozan, or a Jonas Valanciunas. If the Lakers are a contender or close to it, like let's say they just need another piece or two, kind of like a depth piece or something in the offseason, then fine. Like, you don't think he would do it to go get that and maybe potentially lead this team to an NBA championship? Sure, of course he would, right? So, it just, the thing is just you're essentially restructuring your entire roster. But Dejounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, it's tough, right? It's really tough. Like, good luck beating that team. And yeah, like, how do you get there is the question. Because like I said, you're looking at sending out essentially, let's call it $75 million. Say $75 million to be safe. $80 million because you need a backup center. So let's say Day'Ron Sharpe, another $5 million. So let's say you work it out to get Day'Ron Sharpe, and then you get not Zach LaVine, Day'Ron Sharpe, Brandon Ingram. Zach LaVine's always on my mind, right? Brandon Ingram and Dejounte Murray, right? Obviously for Dejounte Murray and Brandon Ingram, you're probably giving up both first, maybe a pick swap. You're probably trading Reeves at that point. And probably fine with that because you're getting Dejounte Murray and you're getting Brandon Ingram, right? So I think you're fine in that regard. And to get to kind of that $80 million, you'd have to trade him too. So like D'Lo and Rui by themselves get you to 35, just shy of $36 million. So you're basically halfway there, right? Or little less, right? So you'd have to do those two. You'd have to do Jared Vanderbilt. There's another $10 million. Have to do Gabe Vincent, there's another $11 million. So you got 35, you got 45, you got $56 million right there. You'd have to include Austin Reeves because that would get you to, 69 million, right? Or 68 million, whatever, right? Like get you to that point, and then you're kind of just like trickling in whatever else you could trickle. Obviously, the Day'Ron Sharpe deal would be separate. So maybe you're doing like a Jalen Hood-Schifino and a Maxwell Lewis and a second or two to go get Day'Ron Sharpe. Boom, there you go. So then you just need to get to a guy like a Brandon Ingram and a Dejounte Murray while still maintaining and having flexibility to round out the rest of the roster. Because again, if you're trading, D'Lo, Rui, Gabe, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, right? And then Jalen Hood-Schifino, Maxwell Lewis. Yes, obviously those guys don't matter, but they're still on the roster spot, and you're bringing in 3 guys. So if you're sending out 8, 9 guys, and you're bringing in 3, right? Again, you're essentially restructuring your entire roster and lineup, but that might need to be the big splash that you take, right? That might need to be the thing that you have to do in order to really kind of put yourself back into contention. Because, like, what's the other option? Let's say you go get a Dorian Finney-Smith. You get a Day'Ron Sharpe, right? You go get a, what else do you get? Kyle Kuzma, let's say. Right? Like, is that better than Brandon Ingram and Dejounte Murray, right? With the current roster you have, right? Like, yeah, you're not restructuring your entire lineup at that point, but still, like, you're still... Like, I think you're better. Now, if you could get another piece or two, right? Like, if you get, like, say, Kuz, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, Cody Martin, and then bring in, like, a Markelle Fultz, fine. But you're still reshaping your whole roster, right? You're still doing the same thing. You're still bringing in 4 or 5 guys, right? But to me, I'd rather go get the home run guys. Go get the, the smacker guys. The guys that give you the highest ceiling raise. I do think that there's an argument there. I do think that there's at least kind of that conversation there of like, hey, do we kind of like try to make it work? Problem is if we're being honest, right? Again, this is just more of an exploratory, just conversation video, right? Just diving into fun trade ideas and experiments, right? Of course, want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, but realistically, it's not going to happen because you'd have to, again, trade essentially 11 guys, right, to like make all this work. It'd really be like 8 guys, but you essentially have to send out 8 guys for 2, 3, right? Pelicans, look, they want to get under the cap. They want to get under stuff. So could they like kind of waive guys, get off of guys? Maybe you add another team. The point is, does it work? Yes, you can get there. You can make it happen. Still fill out a roster. Still get a backup center, right? You can still do those things, right? But it's so much that you'd have to send out and work out and stuff that that's where things kind of get complicated. That's where things kind of get tough. But again, it's not impossible. I don't know. It's more so just the thought process of like Lakers could really use a big swing. Lakers could really use kind of that move that really moves the needle for them, right? And yes, I do think it's possible if you get 4 or 5 guys, right? Like I said, Kuz, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, Cody Martin, and a Markelle Fultz. You get something like that. Yes, now I think you're in contention. But I also think you solve the same thing, and you're just better long term, even post LeBron James, with Dejounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, Anthony Davis. And LeBron James still gives you the flexibility to go do other things in the offseason. So I think that is kind of where, if you're the Lakers, I think that's where you kind of justify the argument for if you were to make a big splash and go try to get a guy like that. But in all honesty, Lakers should have gotten Dejounte Murray last season, and then it would have been cheaper because now you're just going and getting Brandon. Now you're just sending out $36 million, right? Because you're already at Dejounte Murray, and he was cheaper last year than he is this year. So it's tough, but anyway, again, just kind of a fun conversation, just a thoughtful like breakdown. Like, hey, what do you think about a big swing type of trade type thing? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. Do you like the idea of trying to go get Dejounte Murray and a Brandon Ingram? Again, it's possible. It's very, very unlikely. But do you like the idea? Do you hate the idea? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.